Well, good morning, everyone. I had a few minutes here. I'm going to go to a graduation today. I've already been up, went to garage sales. I like garage sales. Do you go to garage sales? Never know what you're going to find. I've found some old beat up guitars before that I was able to work on and had a lot of fun with them. And so I always look for those. Today I just found some tools. And they were cheap, like $3. So it was really fun. I had fun this morning. But anyways, I've had a request to talk a little bit about fingerstyle picking. And you can't really get into that without having a little bit of scales in your background. You've got to learn scales. Now what I do is I marry the two, the chording and the scale. So when I'm playing a song, I can play the chord. If I know any scales around it, you notice I keep going back to the G. There's a C. So I'm actually just working around chords and playing the tune around that chord. You're not the best singer in the world. It's nice to be able to pick the tune out with the song, like the song I just played, You Are My Sunshine. But the only way you can do that is if you know some scales that you can play. And it's not that I think about those scales anymore. I don't, but I just automatically know to go with them when I'm in certain keys, and because I've been playing them over and over and over again. You know, you have to apply what you learn. You can learn a whole bunch of scales, but if you don't apply them to something, they won't become a part of your music. They'll just be scales. You just learn that, and that's all it is. But if you know those scales, and you know when you're playing the G chord, for instance, then you can start picking up the scales around that chord. So I play the chord in You Are My Sunshine. But because I knew that scale, playing around a C chord, so you notice I'm playing around the G, then I go to the C. I'm playing around it because of those scales. So if you want to learn fingerstyle so that you can play spontaneous, I mean, you can go online and look at tabs and learn a lot from tabs, just looking at the charts and seeing how to finger a song. But it's good also to know how to play spontaneous, so that when you sit down with somebody and they start playing the rhythm, you can then pick up some of the fingering behind that rhythm, and then sometimes you're even playing those fingerings together, and it just sounds beautiful. But you can't do that unless you learn some scales. And for some people, that's a bad word, because that means you got to practice something that it can get sort of boring after a while, just learning it. Now, I have to also say that learning scales alone isn't going to do anything unless you apply them. So you've got to marry the two together when you're playing. At least that's what I figured out. And I'm certainly not one of the best. So, I get along okay, but I got a long ways to go too. So, but I have found that what's helped me is to be able to play a chord and play songs around that chord. But I couldn't have done that unless I knew Now, when I first learned violin, they taught you scales. When I went to guitar, I did take early guitar lessons when I was a young girl, and they started out with just this scale. So when I was reading the music, I knew this first position, how to play it. But in knowing that and playing it over and over again, it became part of me. So now so it just becomes a part of you. But again, you can't do this unless you learn some scales. So what I want to show you today is maybe a couple easy ones that you can start on. I don't have a lot of time because I have to go to a graduation today, so I've got to cut this real short, but I did want to show it to you nevertheless, so you start thinking about it, and then just start working on a couple scales. And believe me, I'm not going to have time today to put the graphics up, so I apologize for that. But you can go online and find just huge amounts of material around scales. And in this case, I want you to focus on just the key of G, okay? So we're looking at the G chord, and when we do, I start by playing that, and then I'll play around it. Did you see that? I just made a little error there. So you're starting at the 3rd fret, going to the 5th fret, going to 7th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 4th fret, and then you just end at the 5th fret, okay? You saw I worked my way up those strings, and I did this. Okay? And so you can go further with that. I'm just going to show you pieces of it because you can do this. You can go, all over the fingerboard with that. But I just want you to start with a piece, just one piece of it. Okay? So here's the second one I want you to work on, just one piece of it. Okay, you're going to start at the 8th fret, 2nd string. Go down the 7th string, or 7th fret. Move to the next string, and you're now at the 9th fret. You're now at the where are we at? The 10th fret. 9, 7, and is just end there. Just do that piece. So now you just have okay. So that's just the starting place, but just start working on it and get used to it, and watch where you place your fingers. You notice I'm using my pinky. It's good to do that because it strengthens it. I find myself a lot of times sliding up to it. I suppose you can do that, especially if you've got arthritis or some disability. You could do that, but it's really better if you can make yourself do that. Notice I got my pinky. Okay, So it's just a starting place. It's a scale. It's in the G. And then up here, if you could just start on that. You're starting on the 3rd fret, open, 2nd fret, open, 2nd fret. Ugh. It's funny how when you think about it, you can't do it. So, but anyways, I don't have time to put the graphics up, but I did want to show you that, because if you'll just start someplace, just start learning those things every day, incorporate it into your practice. Even if it's just 5 minutes to it, and then go to your songs and do fun things. But do those monotonous things every once in a while, every day, for just a little bit. And before you know it, when you're playing, you'll start thinking, oh, that scale goes with it. Dressed and go to where am I going today? I'm going to a graduation. Yes, we'll get this old brain working, and I hope you have a great day out there, and enjoy the sunshine. It might be dark where you're at, I know, but if you're here in the United States, enjoy the sunshine. You take care.